into the nitty-gritty behind monsters from different lore. However, there is a general focus on D&D.
We are players and DMs, so we draw from our experience with different tabletop RPGs, and we tend to go off on tangents every so often.
If you're looking for facts and historical value, this may not be the podcast for you. But if you love discussing monsters and all of their potential, just for fun, then we got you covered.
Adult content warning, and with all that out of the way, my name is Dylan, and I'm joined once again by my two brave monster hunters.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Melina.
And this is Mornings with Monsters. And now it is time for another Morning with Monsters. Today, we take you deep into the northern wastes, frigid and desolate. Hiding somewhere in the distant mountain pass lies the object of our hunt this morning. If it sees us before we see it, we may already be dead. Piercing blue eyes glowing in the blizzard, towering at least 8 feet tall and around 850 pounds, yet can still go completely unseen until we get too close for comfort. If you haven't guessed yet, we are what we're hunting by now. It is the cold climate dire ape, feared across the world and all material realms. The one and only abominable snowman. Or for today's purposes, the Yeti. Cool. Interesting topic to research.
Very.
Quite a few a lot of source material. I think it's our first cryptid that people are still actually looking for that we've discussed.
I don't think we've brought something in that is so questionable in our reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last week's episode with the Cyclops, yeah, we know for a fact, not only do they not exist currently, even the proof that the ancients had that they existed, we now know are completely different species of being on this earth. So it's interesting to know that there are people out there right now all over the world searching for essentially the same thing with just different monikers.
Absolutely. This was super interesting to me personally. I really enjoy some of the really old Buddhist myths, and this predates Buddhist writings. There's several temples with heavy ties to Yetis, as they're in the mountains, so they're all kind of coming from the same spot. But essentially, I think that where they kind of came from is, the Himalayan mountains, parts of China, Nepal, places like that. And then we're kind of brought into, Western culture in the early 1900s because of somebody coining them, just like the abominable snowman. Once that name kind of came around, it exploded.
Did you see how that came about?
Was it a dude's letter to his wife or something?
So there was a researcher who was in a different part of the world. And obviously I'm not going to remember where because I suck. But he was listening to one of the locals who was helping them track this thing talk about what they saw. And they said that in the original translation, it's a man-like animal covered in hair, right?
Yep.
And the translation from that language into English got messed up with one specific word, and it ended up becoming something that was hard for the person who wrote the letter to interpret, but he ended up on abominable. Because when you hear that word, it's an abomination. It's anti-human. It's something that is not only not of us but against us. And it just took the inspiration and imagination of our people and just exploded.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a whole, crazy hunt, and they were putting out expeditions to find them and all sorts of stuff. We should probably also mention that we're going to talk about the Yeti in a couple senses other than just what most people know as the abominable snowman. at least I know I did a lot of like research from like old school fantasy. So we'll talk about them as if they, exist. So obviously the ones, the cryptid that everyone knows, we don't have much of a history for, but there's plenty of history with Yetis in general. So it might get a little strange for you guys that have not delved too deep into the fantasy lore of the Yeti.
I am reading an article, which I'm sure that people have seen, that Yetis, I mean, when large humanoid creature covered in fur, like rationally nowadays, what are we gonna think? It's a giant bear.
Yeah. I mean, until it stands up.
Yeah.
Bears stand up.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like a bear standing that isn't a Kodiak or a polar bear. If you're seeing something that's like 8 feet tall standing straight up, like that's not a bear.
No. I mean,
Maybe.
I think its posture when it stands would be a little bit different. But I mean, in
How
like,
would you know? Yetis are mythical. as
You're
far
right.
as we
Because
know.
most accounts say that they're like ape-like, so I feel like their arms at least would give a telling difference. Because like when you see a bear, it's standing like this usually, like,
yeah.
oh no, I got caught standing up. But like most apes stand up with their arms down.
Listen, I just read the ecology of Yeti. It was quite extensive. They basically said that they come from like both bears and great apes, like of specifically orangutans, which was weird. I even
Really?
saw some like pictures of like Yeti-esque orangutans with ram's horns, which was really strange looking, but worth looking up. But they did say there that there's several types of Yetis, and some, like both are kind of bipedal, but also spend most of their time on all fours, just because they're faster.
Yeah.
So
Makes
I'm
sense.
sure, like, we don't know what a Yeti would actually look like, but if we're talking about like your classic like D&D Yeti that's got like the thick white fur and the horns of a ram, which is never explained
Never.
why
Yeah.
they have them. There's no
Nope.
history, like there's no like historical like dig sites in any kind of D&D. Like no one really knows exactly where the Yetis came from, which I thought was interesting. Like people have said, oh well, if they ever had any kind of culture, or if they were more like enlightened and were a different form at any point, it would have predated the giants that lived in the north, and the giants, their stuff's buried under the snow. So if the Yetis ever had anything, it would be under that. So, at least in like D&D, so most of the notable campaign settings and stuff like that, there's really no history of the Yeti.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it's funny you say it has like the horns, the ram's horns, like the classic D&D Yeti, because the only picture I think I've seen, well, I guess they all have like little horns.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just came across like a picture with giant horns, but they're all from World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and those are different. I love my
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. But I'm looking at like the monster manual right now, a picture of the Yeti, and it's got your like almost like tiefling horns kind of spiraled back a little bit, which I think is interesting. Maybe there's something demonic going on there, because like most of the time,
I mean, they could be playing into being an abomination too.
yeah. Yeah, maybe they're like servants of some ancient demonic god in the realm of snow and ice or something. Who
Be
knows?
cool if like humans appear on the world and then like some demon in the abyss is like fuck that and makes like his version of humans.
Yeah. Maybe they are a deeply mutated, tiefling people that were living in the north.
That'd be cool.
Interesting.
Something like that.
So the theory I read about the bears was that 650,000 years ago, they got a glacier separated and they got like partially split from a certain type of Asian bear.
Mm.
So after like thousands of years in the cold. So I'm not saying that it was a bear, but like that could be
That makes way more
similar
sense.
explanation
Yeah.
to, but like using something like environment affected creature.
I think there's definitely something to that. I think that there was a lot of like mistranslation when it comes from like your original thought of what a Yeti is in like the Himalayan culture to what we think of as a Yeti nowadays.
Mhm.
Because nowadays we think of this big, like, abominable snowman who's got long white
Monster.
fur and things like that.
Yeah.
But like even the word Yeti comes from a word that was misunderstood, which means like mountain dwelling creature. It's and essentially like what those creatures were like bears that traveled on mountains, things like that. I personally think that the Yeti comes from like less of a actual being itself, but it like at its core is probably the fear of the cold mountain landscape. Like the threat of being stuck in the cold, like that is its own monster.
Yeah, it's
Especially to the early
personification
people.
of it.
Exactly, and I feel like that's probably what most monsters or cryptids are. Is
Yeah.
they're coming from a place of like that base fear of certain landscapes or feelings or situations, and then through the years they gave it human form. Did you guys see the thing with the temple where they had the Yeti scalp?
What?
Wait, what? Oh, I think I've
Yeah, it's super famous. It was disproved. So like there was like this monk who started a temple, and to do so like he went into the mountains and like stayed in a cave by himself to meditate for how many ever years. And he said the only way he was able to like just stay there and survive was through the help of friendly neighborhood Yetis coming to give him food so that he could just stay there. And then after one died, he took its scalp and he took the hand of a Yeti and brought it to a temple as like these treasured things. And then some Western adventurer came and stole several fingers of the Yeti hand, replaced them with human fingers. Don't want to know how he got those. And then like way later, the temple finally let like labs. I don't know how modern the labs were, but they tested like the hair on the scalp of the Yeti. But you can look up actual pictures of the Yeti scalp and the Yeti hand. It's crazy.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I think the hair on the scalp was like some kind of deer fur though, so that was pretty disappointing to all the people that probably poured thousands and thousands of dollars into exploration missions into the Himalayan mountains looking for, I guess, a deer, but they thought it was a Yeti. It was pretty cool. Cool. So, you know what I think is also interesting with like the classification of the Yeti in the monster manual? They're not classified as a beast. They're actually classified as a monstrosity, which I think is a little bit weird.
Because didn't you tell us what the discernment is between those things?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what's what, but I think the reason it's not classified as a beast is because it has like magic eyes and fur. I think that has something to do with it.
I think a beast is born and a monstrosity is changed or affected, like
Sounds
throughout
right.
its life, like twisted somehow. I'm not saying that a beast can't also be a monstrosity, but because I think I was the one who read that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
so
that
it
like
makes sense because a Yeti would either, and I think there is something to it that yes, a Yeti is born from like the fear of the elements, but at the same time, if a Yeti is out there, a Yeti's appearance and demeanor, like is probably built from their fear of their surroundings and elements as well.
True.
Like, so
Yeah, I actually read that like in the D&D lore, like the Forgotten Realms history, that a lot of people believe that Yeti were dire apes that adapted to deep cold and like high altitude.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I believe they like base level could be considered dire apes. Like,
I'm assuming,
I think they're
yeah.
described as cold climate dire apes in several places.
Yep.
stat wise and like appearance
Stat-wise,
wise,
yeah.
it make complete sense. I think
Yep.
it's like more so a variant of a dire ape than
Yeah, like a monstrosity version.
a monstrositized dire ape.
So I found some cool stuff about the Yetis and how they kind of interact with each other, because they mostly are seen by themselves. They can be found in packs, but when they are, other than they mate and then they stay together for 2 years. But other than that, if you see like a group of Yetis, they're all just random Yetis working together to eat people or hunt.
Right.
They don't stay together as family.
And they don't have like clan hierarchy either, right?
No, there's different types of Yetis, but even those will work together depending on current threats or things like that. They will eat each other because I think they're opportunistic hunters, and they are carnivorous, and they're always hungry. But for the most part, they're not going to be eating each other. But I thought it was interesting. A couple things. The Yeti will have their baby, raise them for only 2 years, and then after 2 years, they release them into the world. And this is why they're all so strong, is because only the strong ones kind of make it. And
Gotcha.
then at 5 years, they're fully grown, which is crazy. And
Yeah, that's nuts.
it also kind of speaks to why they're always kind of frenzied and so feral, is because they have to eat a crazy amount of food. If you think from going from like a little baby to 8 feet and 150 pounds in 5 years, or 850 pounds in 5 years,
That's a lot.
You're eating all the time, constantly.
Yep, you're like Flash at that point.
Yeah, it's nuts. But there's a small window of time. So there's like, they get released into the wild at 2 years old. 5 years old, they're full grown. But if you get to them before they turn 4, you can domesticate them.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if you, because you're
Could you imagine the crazy ass ranger who does that? Like,
right?
Holy crap!
And it looks like,
I'm surprised Zeke doesn't have a fucking domesticated Yeti.
I'm saying.
Go on.
Who knows? There might not be any Yetis in Vacolia.
True.
It's very, yeah.
Maybe, you don't know. The domesticated Yeti is a tough thing because you have to keep up with its demand for food. And if you can't, it will just straight up leave and go hunt whatever it can. But if you can, it says you'll have a lifelong companion, and they won't be like crazy and mean. Like, you can fully domesticate them. I don't know if they can talk.
I was about to. They can speak Yeti.
They can speak Yeti, so if they can speak Yeti, you might be able to teach them something else.
There is some. I don't know if it's a feat or if it's just like a ranger trait from a specific book. But it does let you learn Yeti.
Huh, that's cool.
So for all you strange rangers out there who have a yearning for an 8 foot tall, cold weather adapted friend, learn Yeti.
Yeah, I saw a picture of like a gnome sitting on like the shoulder of a Yeti, and he's like wearing a little vest, and he's like pointing off into like the trees, and they're like working together. And I was like, that's inspiring. Like,
so Lauren needs to charm a 4-year-old.
You know
Yeti?
what? You know what's scary though? The Yetis always go for the weakest and smallest. I literally read somewhere that like if you're a gnome or a dwarf, you can pretty much assume that the Yeti's coming for you first.
Oh, because it will just assume you are?
It will just see that you're the smallest of the group and go for you first. Like, they don't.
That makes sense.
They don't. They hunt for what they can eat the easiest, Not
Yeah.
necessarily like certain feral beasts will kind of go after what the strongest is, because it kind of they want to be the alpha.
The alpha or apex or whatever.
Yeah. No, they don't care about that. They're just trying to eat. Also, you
Have you
can't.
guys? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say you can't run into a Yeti and convince it not to fight you. Like,
Yeah, there's no charming.
yeah,
that.
it just instantly wants to fight because it's always hungry.
Have you guys read about the rare instances when white dragons will take on
Yeah.
packs of Yeti and let them ride them?
That sounds so fucking cool.
And
Right?
fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And terrifying. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely terrifying.
But also, like I'm just imagining like a glorious metal song while like
Some fucking Yetis on the
Yeti are
back
like
of
running
dragons.
around the tundra and then like two white dragons come out with giant fucking Yetis. Because like they also have the Gargantua Yeti variant, right?
Yes, there's like one that's 3 times as big.
And I could imagine a 30-foot tall Yeti riding the back of a white dragon would be glorious.
And white dragons are scary as shit. They're
Yeah, they're giants.
Yeah, they're massive. They're like they take on like the attributes of like the winter mountains and things like that.
Mhm.
They're also the most like beast like dragon out of all the dragons. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so they don't care for like keeping hordes or making learning anything. They can be like tamed at an early age by other dragons to like pursue different endeavors, but if they're just left to their own devices, they are just feral creatures as far as dragons go. They can still talk, but like their main thing is eat and survive.
So perfect masters
Yeah.
for a group of Yeti.
Yeah,
Perfect.
terrifying combination.
I'm picturing Danny's dragon that the Night King stole.
Okay.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah.
as
Mhm. I could
dra-
see
like,
that too because like its temperament is essentially that.
Just
Yeah.
imagine like seeing like that dragon flying over towards you, and then on its back is just a fucking massive Yeti with glowing blue eyes.
what?
Like you
Giant
already
ram's horns.
know
You're
you're
already
screwed when you
fucked.
see the dragon. Yeah, but then the gargantuan Yeti on top of it, you're like, okay, well, I just peed my pants. Sorry, I soiled a few.
And I'm pretty sure that variant of Yeti has an ice breath attack.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, you're getting smacked with 2.
2 of them.
I'm like not looking forward to. Oh my god, I can't with legendary actions and shit like
Oh
that.
yeah, you're not
They're
looking forward to it.
terrifying. And
Gets-
those like breath things. I hate a breath weapon.
Breaths are the worst.
So as of Tuesday, or what's today? Thursday. So as of 2 days ago from recording this, my party added a new member, and they're all level 12. So
Yes.
they're gonna be getting in some much harder fights.
I'm not looking
I was
forward
looking
to
at
it.
some calculators, and I got to throw some crazy stuff at you now.
No, you don't.
I have to, or it's just gonna be
About that.
boring.
Everything's gonna be terrifying, and then we're gonna be like, "Oh, it's dead."
It's dead. Hopefully, only 1 or 2 of you died in the fight, but it's gonna be a real threat. Legendary actions are
It'll be Evan
gonna be
first.
common. Well, if you keep rushing into things.
What else am I supposed to do? I have melee range
I'm not
only.
judging you. I'm not judging. Just saying. I feel you. I'm a paladin.
It's hard, man. It's hard out here for melee.
It is. I mean, 5
Get
feet.
magic
It's
range
pretty
weapon.
close.
We'll see.
Got some keys, my friend.
I have some plans too.
Uh-oh. That's scary. Any other fun facts about the Yeti before we take a short break and do some prompt questions?
I like how they have in D&D that third translucent eyelid so that they can see through storms.
Super
That's-
cool.
Didn't really. I didn't know
Just
that.
like further proving that if you and your party are stuck in a mountain storm, have an impenetrable bubble or something because you guys are going to be screwed otherwise. Like really, there's no hope for people who aren't adapted to that kind of like wildlife to survive.
You're
something
taking
like that.
points of exhaustion in the middle of a blizzard. Like,
Yeah.
that's a scary, scary thing.
Yep.
Scary.
when you have multi debuffs just because of your surroundings, and then you have to fight something that can see and withstand it all way better than you, no.
And something that's been a thing since like Yetis were introduced into Dungeons and Dragons is their gaze, and
Yeah.
you don't even have to see it; it just has to see you.
Yep. If it locks its eyes on you without you even knowing, you're
Yeah.
paralyzed.
And it can smell. It can smell you from miles away.
Yeah.
I don't know its range of sight, but I'm sure it's wild. And
And honestly, it's a perfect it all it does is ambush its prey, no matter what its prey is. So like until you see it, you think you're safe, but it's trailing you, it's
yeah,
stalking you, it's making the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
yeah, and hopefully there's only one.
Right.
Hopefully.
And hopefully it's one of the smaller ones. Last quick fun fact before the break: Yetis in warmer climates actually their fur changes color
I
to a
saw
darker
that
brown.
too. Yeah.
Darker
That's
brown.
In
They're-
their what was it, like short 4 week summer or something like
yeah,
that?
they're probably still covered in snow summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's cool though. I enjoy that they have a little bit of like seasonality to
Yeah,
them.
they're like a tree,
Mm-hmm.
changing colors. I like
Yeah.
A death tree.
that. A tree of death. It's immune to the cold and will kill you with its glare.
And is forever hungry.
And forever hungry. All right, we will be right back after a very short break. Hey guys, I hope you brought your winter coats for this one because I know it's cold and it's even colder knowing that there is a Yeti somewhere hiding in the mountains as we go through this little episode. Anyways, thank you again for listening. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Make sure you tell everyone you know about Mornings with Monsters because it's awesome and you're awesome for listening to it, and we want as many people to be awesome as possible. As always, huge shout out to @MizenCake on Instagram for our amazing cover art. If you guys would like us to discuss any kind of monster, doesn't even have to be Dungeons and Dragons, we will do so, and you can let us know at morningswmonsters@gmail.com. You can let us know any feedback there if you want to chat, whatever you want. If you want to complain, we got you. Anyways, thank you so much again for listening, and make sure you check out our Instagram. We got a lot of fun stuff going on over there as well. If you want to see pictures of the monsters or these weird looking Yetis that we talk about, all sorts of fun stuff over there. I will let you get back to the rest of your episode, and I'll see you next week in the middle of the episode. Enjoy. Bye. Well, we've managed to avoid the gaze of the Yeti and make it back for the second half
I had to pad all my armor to keep warm.
of this morning with monsters. Cool. So how would you kill everyone with Yetis? TPK.
Yeah, that'd be easy, man.
It was easy, yeah.
Yeah.
You put them on a white dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, here's what I would do, and I would only do it in specific circumstances. And, there's always the option of them figuring it out or just overcoming the trial. But if I was DMing and my party decided to go after something at the top of a snow-covered peak, and they failed to take any kind of precautions against the terrain or the winter climate or, the altitude, and they just went in like, screw it, we're just going,
Yeah.
without any kind of like guide or anything.
Leroy
I would make them travel for days, taking points of exhaustion because they don't have any way to properly camp at night, so they're already in like under effects of exhaustion, and then they pass through a valley in the mountain or a mountain pass that's just like they get slapped with a blizzard and they can't see and they don't know what direction they're going in because they didn't prepare well enough, and then one of them just sees a flash of blue in the distance, and the next thing you know, you're fighting Yetis, and I would use lots of like super scary, descriptions of this blizzard and the feeling of being blind, and you're just getting attacked by a Yeti that's popping in and out, and you have no idea where it is because it is essentially invisible. And
That would be so horrible.
yeah,
Oh my God.
I'd make it really, really scary, and it would just pick you off smallest to biggest.
Oh my god.
Yep.
No.
And the last thing you see are the the glowing blue eyes and horns.
I would do something pretty similar. I imagine a party like where there's a ranger who knows the lands but hasn't been there in a while.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? They're trying to investigate some like greater quest, and a snowstorm just rolls in as they're in the forest. And like they can't see shit. They're not really prepared for snow because they didn't expect it. But the ranger knows of a cave that should be safe this time of year. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Unbeknownst to him, there's a mating pair of Yeti and their 2 1-year-old children in the cave when they get in there, and they just like,
oh no,
they don't even see it coming.
Yeah, it's rare. They wouldn't know.
Yeah, they would have no idea.
That actually kind of reminds me of something I read that the mountain faring people that live there will actually use Yetis to fight other threats or clear out things like areas of people that they don't want living there anymore.
Really?
By doing things like cutting, like over hunting the sheep or goats that the Yetis normally hunt, so that they're forced to go after the people in the area.
Oh.
And then they'll also do things like they'll leave like bloodied corpses, like easy food for them in like the approaching army's encampments to thin the ranks before a fight. So
shit,
I was like, that
brilliant.
Is brutal and brilliant. So that's interesting. That seems like a Scooby-Doo mystery, D&D. Like,
that's so funny.
Who's using the Yetis?
one of the comments I read today was someone used a Scooby-Doo adventure.
Yeah.
Like the whole setup was like them going up a mountain to find something and ended up being a Yeti.
Oh really? Oh, that's
yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing. I mean, I would not want to be the one trying to be like, you know what? Let's use the Yetis, because everyone else would be like, fuck no.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
And like how easy it could be turned around on.
Yeah. Know? Next thing you
know,
that would
just be my first question. How?
Yeah. Exactly. What? Well, you want to kill the party? You're just going with the dragon back? Because you're just dead. Especially if there's more than one.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially if there's more than one, we're most likely dead.
You have to be...
we will try that if we ever encounter a Yeti and survive in-game.
You gotta be probably level 18. Because I think the Yeti itself is like CR rating 9.
10.
10, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they're like rare.
It's not something that you see all the time.
No, but like there's a lot of white dragon variants, ancient white dragon that's probably CR 12. Like that would be scary. Because if that Yeti variant is riding a dragon, it's the scariest white dragon variant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be a cool fight though. Like I would, if I ever get to level 18 with my paladin, I would love to have a mountaintop skirmish with that. Just to see if I could do it. Exactly.
Yeah,
it would be
absolutely.
fun. You're probably gonna die, but
and I mean, if you have your trusty illusionist buddy there,
exactly.
It might go well.
Who knows?
Party, bitch. Don't exclude the rest of us.
I'm not excluding. I'm just focusing on the hijinks.
I feel like Svetla would get the fuck out of there, or be like, "We're not doing this. This is not a fight. We need."
I would hope by that level, Svetla has some more badass ranged weapons to sneak attack.
You're gonna get some stuff at 18, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she'll be a little less in the shadows. Well, maybe not.
We'll be heroes of the realm by then.
I'm actually kind of scared at like level 12 of Evan. Like, I can't imagine what the rest of our party is looking like right now.
I
Level
haven't done
12 is
yet,
Yeah.
it's nasty.
Level 12 is nasty. It's when shit really gets ramped up. See, the thing
Yeah.
about D&D is most campaigns don't make it past 12 because
Yeah.
that's when fights get real. So people either die or by that time it's been like 2 years and everyone gives up playing because it's hard to schedule. We are lucky, and if anything, the campaign would end because you all die rather than us
Not
all
gonna happen.
canceling.
It's never gonna. We're not dying.
And we just introduced a new character that I'm super excited about and super hopeful that I scaled them properly and homebrewed them evenly. And yeah.
Is she keeping the voice?
Oh, I told her she's got to go full
Awesome.
Australian, and she's a
I
dude,
love it.
so.
It's great.
I mean, she'll probably do it as much as anyone else does it and have to break it to like feel like, what the fuck is going on here?
Mhm.
You know?
I told so many people about that at work. So I'm sure everybody at work was like, why does Melina keep like yelling in an Australian accent? It's like you can't I
mate.
doing it like my mother hopped out of bed, sits up to the camera, and then her most like goofy smile, like she's like, they're gonna love this. You can tell on her face. She knew we were all gonna love this. Good day, mate. It's like, excuse me. All just started dying laughing.
Yeah, I think we introduced her character in a fun way.
I agree. I was just about to say I really love the way you did that.
Waited till the very end.
Yep. We got home to our guild.
And here's this new random astral magic specialist to that.
After getting like plagued into magical darkness so we couldn't see.
Yeah, and then he was just kind of there. Yeah, cool. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh,
we were TPKing.
Yetis.
Yeah,
we just killed our party. Where was the first time you guys have seen the abominable snowman or Yeti?
I don't know.
I know.
Probably.
So here's the thing. I was trying to figure this out because there's one in SpongeBob, there's one in Star Wars, arguably.
Yeah.
There's one, but I'm pretty sure for me it was Christmas specials.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Bumble.
Yeah.
Bumble.
Was that yours, Dylan?
Yes.
I don't know if mine would be that or if mine was Star Wars because I can't remember which I saw first.
I mean, the Rudolph is older than Star Wars, I believe.
It's actually credited to the modern day, like white furred, blue, skinned.
Oh,
Yeti.
Really?
Yeah.
that claymation movie representation.
Yeah, because even hilarious. Like when they were hunting it, they were hunting for like a brown furred bear humanoid.
Yeah,
rather than the white furred. Like at least from what I read, that was like the first that was like the imagery that kind of made everyone like super interested in the abominable snowman, as depicted as he is.
That's cool.
It still holds up, the claymation.
We watch them every year.
I mean, how can you not? Like,
they're so good.
I literally was like, I don't know when the first time I saw them was, and John's like, mine's SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I was like, SpongeBob, and I like totally forgot they had a fucking abominable snowman in SpongeBob.
Yeah, because they've done everything.
That makes sense for sure.
They're like The Simpsons. Like literally everything's happened in SpongeBob at this point.
But better.
But yeah. So I think this is a classic answer at this point, but
yeah, I think so.
Do you think they're inherently good or evil?
Oh,
I think this is is a shark evil kind of thing.
Yeah, I would have to say yeah to that.
Because like it's probably so less evil than a shark is evil, right? Because it's not their fault that they naturally need to eat a crazy amount of food. I don't think carnivores are evil. And
like you said, like when an area has like bountiful animal, it will hunt that over humans first.
yeah,
So, I mean,
humans are easier or less easy to kill than like a flock of sheeps
right.
or sheep,
And I,
flock of sheep.
yeah, and I mean, I guess that, I don't know, that could be argued both ways. It's less evil because it's not humanity and we are humans discussing good and evil, but also the idea of like going after the weakest thing first.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I mean it's just trying to eat, and like if you can feed it enough like meat, you could tame it. You know, so
That's
you
true.
can't really tame a shark. I mean, there's
I don't know,
instances.
can you?
There's like certain sharks that people are friends with, but you're not riding on the back of a shark. You know, it's
True
not
that,
going with
yeah.
you on adventures.
You're not like getting on its shoulder and being like, let's go over there.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say they are probably they're not evil. I wouldn't say they're inherently good though. I mean,
They're real neutral.
yeah, they are neutral. What? Let's see. What are they? They are chaotic evil. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Chaotic evil is what they
I
are
mean,
classified as.
D&D would
Yeah.
Well,
would
it's classifying them that way probably because they are just like we're gonna kill you no
Eating
matter
machines.
what.
Yeah, exactly. And like they throw the chaotic in instead of lawful because they don't believe in anything that makes them kill. They just kill and it's wanton. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think they can be good boys.
Yeah. Oh man. Now I kind of want to talk Zeke into finding
An abominable
an
snowman.
abominable
You
snowman.
gotta
We
like you have to
any
find a
gold.
3-year-old though, because it's just gonna want to kill you. It won't necessarily fight you to the death, but after the age of 3, it's untamable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, you have a small frame
Just
of time.
kill the parents right before they release the 2-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, you could tame it at 1 or 2, but it's got its parents there, and potentially other babies. So you're going up
Oh.
against multiple,
And even a baby,
Yetis.
like 1-year-old, is probably like as big as a
It's probably
regular
beefy.
human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably beefy. I don't know if it's got its magic eyes yet, but it's probably got its
Oh,
claws.
that'd be nice.
It's probably still got multi attack.
Fucking multi-attack. Goddamn.
hate that.
Yeah, multi attack's fun. Okay. What's the most misunderstood thing about the Yeti? Got anything?
Well, for me, I think that I'm misunderstanding and underestimating like how hard it is to kill. Like for
Yeah.
me, to me, it doesn't seem much different than like a dire moose or some other great animal that you could take down, especially with a group of parties. But then we're throwing in we can't see, but it can.
Yeah.
We're not prepared for the cold, but it is. It's got terrain on its side. It's got hunting abilities on its side, and like you
Sure.
said, multi-attack and a paralysis on its side.
Yeah, and it's probably Rudolph that did this to me, but like he had a slightly more docile like version of them in like
Oh yeah, it
much
just
more
had a toothache.
Sasquatch like walking through the forest kind of
Mhm,
thing rather
mhm.
than a like carnivorous beast like hunting for food, which is definitely a little more accurate. But I just don't think that's where my brain went initially.
Yeah, I would say that like yes, they are underestimated. I think we've answered the underrated overrated question with this, but
Yeah.
I would say that the one thing that's really misunderstood about them, they are ferocious, feral, brutal rampagers, but they are keen hunters, they are highly intelligent, they can speak to each other, they have a language. So they are smarter than you think they are at face value. They're
Yep.
going to stalk you, they can smell you from miles away, they're going to have a plan. Like it in the like I've read like DM notes on Yetis, and it says give them tactics. Like they won't just kill you at the first sight. they're going to wait until the opportune moment when they could be hunting you for a week while you trudge through the snow and you are dying from the cold, and
Yep.
it will pick off your weakest,
Yep.
So I think
I was gonna do a TPK idea where in the cave they think that they're safe, so like one of them goes out to get firewood, never comes back.
yeah,
Two of them go out to look for them, never come back.
yeah,
Yeah, and it would be a very like cold and concise kill.
yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be like my other. That would have been like the one other thing, but I'm like, they die. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you are. Let's see. You're taking chilling gaze, right? That's 21 points of cold damage, paralyzed for a minute, and then on top of that, you're taking a essentially dragon's cold breath attack of 10d8.
What?
What?
Yeah, yeah.
From a regular Yeti?
No, that's the abominable Yeti.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But still, I don't.
And then-
think, yeah, I mean, you
But then
can still be
with regular
paralyzed.
Yeti, you get paralyzed, so then both the multi attacks you receive after that are at advantage for the Yeti.
Yep. And you're taking multiple types of damage, so you're
Yeah.
taking slashing and cold damage. So
Not worth it.
scary,
Terrifying.
scary. And they're invisible. You have advantage on dex checks in snowy terrain, and you're not finding them anywhere but snowy terrain. So,
Yeah, that's
Another
terrifying.
reason to like really drive home that they will hunt. It's not like, blind killing.
no, yeah, no,
Yeah, no, it's strategic hunting. It's
Yeah.
not savage. Like it's brutal, but not savage.
Yeah, agreed. Like it has thought and plans, accounted for weaknesses, and calculations,
no, 100%. Favorite question time, since
Yes.
we're nearing the end of our morning with this monster, as we approach midday, the sun appearing over the snow drifts, beginning to warm our souls. How would you like to see them used in media or gameplay? How would you use them? How do you want to see these guys?
I would love to see a movie of, kind of like what was it, The Gray? Is that the one with all the lulls?
Yeah,
But like not so linear. You know what I mean? Like jump back and forth between perspectives of like the things that are hunting and the things that are being hunted, and show us the fear and like balance it out with this like cold stalking,
yeah,
it would be really cool to watch like some great beast with mind like really take down its prey like over time. And I would want it to win. I don't want this bullshit like, oh yeah, at the very last second I shoot him in the face. No.
yeah.
You're not taking down a Yeti with one shot to the face.
No, I got two. I'm sorry. I like this.
No, that's
Yeti.
cool.
Do it.
So, my first one would be like a medieval like mountaintop mystery of like a group of adventurers, or maybe a ranger heading to the north, is tasked with finding out why these Yetis keep attacking these settlements, and so they hunt for the Yetis, and they slowly, over the course of like this movie or whatever it is, figure out that these Yetis are being utilized by like the overly ambitious like tyrannical leader that's trying to take over the north by like getting rid of the smaller settlements so that he can move in on their territory. And so he's thinning out the flock to try, or thinning out the prey of the Yetis, and using them in that way. I think that would be interesting to like slowly uncover, and it turns out the Yetis weren't the bad guys at the end. It was this
This lord.
yeah, this evil lord or whatever. And then the other one would be more of like a comedy thing where like what a fear bolg is?
No.
So they're like these indigenous like super furry like humanoids. You can play them in campaigns.
Okay.
They're newer, I think. But they're like these slow moving like big furry creatures. usually like they're caked in some mud in a swamp somewhere. I just want to like have an interaction with them, and then there's like a Yeti just kind of chilling, like also caked in mud, but like for some reason everyone just kind of assumes he's a furbolg with horns that looks a little bit different, you know? And just
Wow.
like I don't know, just like a side, like it might not even, if you ever go to a furbolg settlement in like a campaign, there's just like there's also a Yeti there. Like just describe like one of the Yetis is slightly taller, flatter face, and has horns.
Still caked in mud.
Yeah, still caked in mud, and just having him like be chilling there with them, like he got misplaced. He's no longer on the mountain. Maybe he fell off or something. You just have him as that thing like that the party might not even ever investigate, but I have an entire packet of his backstory.
Yes.
Yeah, that
my
kind of
God.
thing. But that's how I want to see the Yetis. Melina, how do you want to see your Yeti?
Oh goodness. I think it would be fun to have something kind of similar to that, but like a Yeti that was domesticated and someone was able to communicate with it, and it was like taught similar languages, and it was just like part of the party, but like just a
Yeah.
super OP part of the party, and
Yeah.
like didn't understand why like it was terrifying when it would roll up on a new city, like, and people didn't know
He's like,
that.
friends.
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
And it's like wears like a cloak or whatever it wears, like
A really
just
big cloak.
it wants to like fit in or something like that.
That'd be so cute.
Yeah.
Give it a little vest.
But then like every now and again, just like its instincts like
It gets hungry, goes feral, starts blasting energy beams of cold.
yep, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, who ravaged the town you were about to go to last night? I have no idea.
I don't know.
You want to see all this cool stuff I just found?
I got some cool things along the road. I found this treasure chest.
Look at this family portrait.
This family, oh no.
That's
Oh no. Okay. I think that pretty much wraps it up for the Yeti. So we're gonna end it here. Luckily, we finally found the Yeti we were hunting for, but it was 3 years old, didn't quite have its chilling gaze yet, so we were able to domesticate it, and now our podcast has a small Yeti familiar type companion. I think that's gonna do it for us today, though, here on Mornings with Monsters. I'm Dylan,
I'm Melina.
And I'm Alex.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.